Hello, my name's Bev and I'm the author of the book Please Eat, A Mother's Struggle to Free Her Teenage Son from Anorexia, which describes our family's battle with the deadly eating disorder, anorexia nervosa, which my teenage son Ben developed back in 2009 when he was just 15 years old. Just like the parents on the Around the Dinner Table forum, the forum for parents of young people with eating disorders, I found with my blog, the more I was writing it, the more people were following it and the more excellent feedback I was getting. And this particular post from the 26th of May 2011 initially talks about the lovely feedback that the blog followers posted on my blog, because I was obviously mega stressed over the previous couple of days. So yeah, this post is sort of about general bits and pieces. It's called Delegating and Talking. Thank you for the lovely feedback regarding my cry for help the other day. Ben offered to clean the house yesterday afternoon in exchange for some new shoes he wanted, so that's sorted for a while. My sister has been visiting my dad and is going again tonight, so I won't need to go until tomorrow. As you'll see from my other entry, my wonderful friend Sue has been brilliant. Her cups of tea are positively soothing. And I had a word with Ben about his behaviour the other night. I explained that whereas we all know that anorexia can be an incredibly self-centred illness in that the behaviour often doesn't give a toss about how it's affecting other people, I believed Ben had arrived at a stage in recovery where he needed to be less self-focused and work at sometimes taking the focus off himself and his illness and onto other people who may also be experiencing issues. I explained that although I am usually delighted to talk through any issues that are bothering him, sometimes it's difficult for me to be on top form. After all, I'm only human. I suggested we spend a bit of time over the weekend going through the contract and updating it to be more helpful to whatever is bothering Ben at the moment. I suggested that maybe this week hadn't been as positive as other weeks, and at this stage in recovery it's vital to address stumbling blocks to avoid landing back in the dreaded limbo land. I know for a fact that he's extremely anxious about getting weighed tomorrow at CAMS. As you know, he wanted to be weighed last Friday, but the psychiatrist rightfully refused because we now only weigh every fortnight rather than every week, to avoid Ben getting obsessed with numbers, which was causing knee-jerk reactions to the weekly weight and resulting in weight maintenance rather than gain. Of course, he's convinced he's put on a hell of a lot of weight. Looking at him, I know for a fact this isn't the case, and yet again I reminded him that he'd have to put on a total of 2 kilos this Friday in order to average out at the official guidelines. Having been monitoring it and doing the contracts for 8 weeks now, I reminded him that this is an excellent long-term period to look at. We must look at weight gain over the long term because that gives us a far more accurate picture of what's going on. So I will be there with my figures and my calculator so I can dive in with the facts the moment he starts to freak out because he's put on loads of weight. And if he hasn't, he has reluctantly agreed to increase the calories by 100 a day for the next fortnight. A lot of research and other people's experiences suggest strong evidence for the belief that with true weight restoration comes mind healing. Many of the eating disorder behaviours evaporate away, not immediately, but they do with a bit of patience. Some say it can take up to a year or even longer for the brain to catch up. But it's vital that an individual reaches their true natural weight with room on either side for weight fluctuation. I am very frustrated that after so long of living with the eating disorder, Ben should still have such a powerful aversion to weight gain. He longs to recover, but he finds it extremely hard, impossible at times, to envisage that recovery in terms of being a higher, healthier, more natural weight, because he is convinced he is okay as he is. Oh, and tomorrow at CAMS we're seeing the psychiatrist's assistant because the psychiatrist is away again. And I'll go crazy if she says anything whatsoever along the lines of, quote, "If you feel happy with your weight, Ben, you might find it easier to stick at that weight," unquote, kind of thing. That's the end of that post. Thank you for listening. You'll find a link below to my blog, and you'll also find a link to my website where you can download free PDFs of my blog, and also a link to Amazon where you can buy a copy of my book.